Hey team, today we're going to look at 3 ways you can improve your technique to improve your strength and eliminate the ultramarathon shuffle. But first, we have to understand what technique is. Technique is the direct application of strength.
1, 2, 3, 4. I was born to run to. Easy, light, smooth, fast. Easy, light, smooth, fast.
So unlike all the run influencers out there on TikTok and Instagram looking silly, trying to show you what bad form is and then showing you what the correct form is, that's not how you teach technique. You teach technique by putting the athlete in a situation where they can't do it wrong, so they can feel it and they can feel the strength. And then it becomes strength training. So a few weeks ago, I did an hour-long run clinic for one of the local trail running clubs here in Jackson, and our focus was understanding some subtle but potent run techniques that will help you not only improve your trail running, but help you become a better, stronger runner in general. So this all applies to every runner. As you can see, we're pretty socked in with smoke, quite severely. So I am hiking uphill and then running downhill to kind of save the effort, keep it low in zone 2, but more importantly to not create a whole lot of heavy breathing with this smoke. So anyways, back to this run clinic. As part of the warm-up, I had the group go through some running in place drills that again acted as a warm-up, but more importantly was our teacher to understand that how we strike the ground, where we strike the ground should not change regardless of our speed, the terrain. The only thing that changes is our force production angle into the ground. When running in place, our force production goes directly straight down underneath us because we're not moving forward. Running in place and then running forward just changes the force production angle into the ground. So we worked on this one simple, effective, potent drill of running in place to understand what it feels like, where you should be striking the ground, and letting that set the course for this philosophy of I talked to them about the biggest mistake I see ultra runners make specifically, but most runners in general, is when they're running, especially easy or uphill, they're dropping their foot too low to the ground and therefore losing out on everything we just talked about. Okay, and that's the shuffle. That's, improper uses of our foot and elastic energy. So a lot goes out the window when we drop that foot too low. And this drill helps to really use it as the coaching tool to understand, again, using our feet, where we strike the ground, and what this feels like. So I have my athletes use this as a warm-up to get the neuromuscular system humming and understand that feeling. But then if they're still having trouble with it, I'll have them stop during their run and just run in place to reinforce that feeling. So try it out. So after this warm-up drill, I took them over to a set of stairs, and this is where the magic starts to happen. Is that if you go to a marathon, any running race for that matter, everybody runs differently. No one looks the same. Everybody's run differently, maybe instead of the top field. But if you take a group of runners to a set of stairs and have them run the set of stairs, they all look the same, because I'm putting them in a situation to have proper technique and proper strength. Therefore, they can't do it wrong. Therefore, they all look the same. So by using a set of stairs, we're using each step as a way to take that running in place drill to now providing force at more of an angle to go up the set of stairs. We're just changing the direction of our force, and the step is our teacher to pull that foot a little bit higher through the calf to make that next step. So now we all have sets of stairs somewhere. Try this out. Again, you can't do it wrong. Don't overthink it. The key is to start to feel what it feels like, and then mimicking that feeling as you take it to a more real world scenario, which we'll do in a minute. Okay, so try the stairs out and feel good technique, feel good strength. Every step is setting you up for stability in your glutes and allowing you to use that elastic energy to go forward. You can't overstride on stairs. You can't heel strike on stairs. You have to use your body the most efficient, proper strength way. That is, again, the teacher, the drill, putting yourself in a situation you can't do it wrong. So give it a try. All right, I'm climbing up 45% grade to my little summit up here. And that's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna understand how important it is to run very short, very, very steep intervals for everything we're talking about, technique and strength. If you're an ultramarathoner, you're not taught to run steep terrain, but in this case, it serves a purpose. It's a tool. Here we go. And then off to the steep stuff. I took the group to the base of Snow King, and we did 25 to 30% hill repeats at 15 to 20 seconds, no longer, because again, the purpose of, there's a lot that goes into why we're doing this, but first and foremost is that we want to train that force production into the ground. So by using a very, very steep terrain, you naturally, just to run up it for 15, 20 seconds, you naturally have to produce quite a bit of force production at the angle into the ground to allow you to go up that steep grade, okay? And because of the steep grade, it's no different than running upstairs, but now it's in a little bit more natural environment. You don't have the step, but with the grade of the hill, you still have to pull that foot relatively high through and strike the ground appropriately. And again, it's hard to screw this foot strike up because of the steep grade. So again, we're just taking the stairs now into a little bit more real world specific to running. And it's wonderful strength training, because now, because we're running relatively fast for a short period of time at very, very steep grade, that force production is a lot more, and it helps us get hip and leg extension that is kind of above and beyond what we would normally get on a hill because we're running slower for a longer period of time. So again, a lot goes into this simple drill. And with that, now we can pull in the cadence. Because it's so steep, it's very, very hard to run up a grade that's this steep without having pretty good cadence. It's not going to be our ideal cadence that we'll want on the road, but because of the grade, you have to have relatively quick cadence just to run up it, okay? So now what happens is that doing these repeats is going to make cadence so much easier on everything else we run that's, again, a little bit more specific to our everyday running. So it makes cadence feel much better and much easier to have quicker cadence. So a lot goes into this. The most important two things: find a hill that's as steep as possible and keep it short, 15, 20 seconds, because after that you can't run much further. All right, so give that a try. And then After you've done maybe 6 to 8 of these repeats, I had the group circle around and run switchbacks back down to mimic this leg cycle running downhill. So you're taking what it feels like to run uphill and pulling that foot a little bit higher on the downhill to practice the same thing. So you're not reaching way out in front of you because gravity's pulling you to overstriding. Okay, and that's where we can just really trash our legs. So we want to have the same kind of form and foot strike running downhill, because that's great strength training. So the key on the downhill is using it for strength training. So you're going to slow down enough to cycle the legs, pull that foot a little bit higher through the calf, and strike almost underneath you. Okay, when we're racing, especially to the shorter the race, maybe you reach out a little bit and you're just kind of doing what you need to run fast. But most of the time, what we want to practice is having good form on the downhill, because that's an eccentric load, similar to like a depth jump if you're doing that in a gym. Okay, this eccentric loading running downhill is wonderful, wonderful strength. So we can use easy downhill running with proper foot strike as a form of strength training. Probably one of the best forms of strength training there are. It's not only good, it's just wonderful, wonderful hip stability training and hip glute strength. Okay, so don't sleep on how crucial downhill running can be for strength training. But you can't heel strike, you can't reach out, you got to keep everything underneath you. So slow down and do your faster running other times. Okay, all right, so give this a try, a little mini run clinic for you today. So all right, I'm gonna kind of circle around and continue to explore the neighborhood. Thanks for following along. Over and out from the ridge on Snow King and Jackson Hole. Born to Run World. See you guys.